A homeless mother with $5 and 3 children was asked a question that broke her heart and wouldn't let her see people the same again. "Can you share your bread with me?" The stranger standing before her looked just as broken as she felt. Old and rumpled jacket, starving eyes after too many nights without food. He claimed he was homeless too. He claimed he only had $10 to his name. Even with her own children yawning from hunger behind her after days with barely any food, with just $5 standing between her family and having nothing at all, she looked at the stranger and said, "You can share the food, so you can eat too." What Jasmine didn't know, as she offered her last slice of bread to a man she'd never met, was that he wasn't just homeless at all. Neither was he only struggling. And within 72 hours, her generosity and kindness towards that young homeless man would trigger a response so massive, so overwhelming that $500,000 would flood into her life from strangers around the world who heard her story. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Because before the miracle, there were 2 years of hell. 2 years of sleeping on cardboard outside closed shops. 2 years of watching her children go hungry while the world walked past without seeing them. 2 years of praying to a God who seemed to have forgotten her name. This is the story of how kindness from an empty pocket moved the heart of the world. Jasmine Brooks was 31 years old, but she looked 45. That's what poverty and homelessness does to a person. Carves years into your face with every sleepless night on concrete. It ages you with stress that never stops, hunger that never fully goes away, fear that becomes your constant companion. She sat on a flattened cardboard outside a closed convenience store in downtown Atlanta, Georgia, her back resting against the cold brick, 3 small faces looking up at her with the kind of trust that broke her heart every single day. Her son, 6-year-old Aiden, sat to her left, his shoes held together with duct tape she'd found in a dumpster. Her 4-year-old daughter, Mia, sat beside her, thumb in her mouth, quiet and sleepy, the way children behave when they haven't eaten all day. And baby Marcus, just 18 months old, slept fitfully in her arms. This was her family. This was her entire world. 3 reasons to wake up every morning even when waking up felt like punishment. It was 4:47 in the evening, and the Atlanta winter wind swept down the street, cold enough to stop people mid-step. People rushed past on their way home from work. People looked away and walked faster when they saw the cardboard sign resting against Jasmine's knee. The sign read, "Single mother without a home. Anything helps. God bless you." She'd written it 2 years ago when this nightmare first began. The cardboard was worn now, the marker already fading, but the message remained true, painfully, crushingly true. Jasmine had $5.37 in her pocket. She'd counted it 17 times that day, hoping somehow the number would magically increase. It never did. Mathematics doesn't care about desperation. The hotel down the street charged $75 for a single night in their cheapest room. She'd called that morning to confirm, even though she already knew the price by heart. $75 for 4 walls, a door that locked, showers that works, and beds that weren't made of frozen concrete. She was $69.63 short. Might as well have been $1 million. "Mama, I'm hungry," Aiden whispered, his voice small and ashamed, as if his basic human need for food was somehow an inconvenience he should apologize for. Jasmine's heart wept a little more. She wondered how many times a heart could break before it stopped working altogether. "I know, baby," she whispered back, kissing the top of his head. His hair needed washing. When was the last time they'd had access to a real shower? 3 days? 4? She'd lost count. When's the last time they ate? A voice would ask her later that evening. A stranger's voice, a test disguised as concern. "Earlier today," she would answer, which was technically true. A woman outside the church had given them half a sandwich around noon. Jasmine had split it into 3 pieces, giving the largest to Aiden, the second largest to Mia, and the smallest to Marcus. She'd eaten nothing herself again. That was her routine now. Feed the children first. Feed the children second. Feed the children third. If there is anything left after that, maybe she'd eat. Usually there wasn't. She'd lost 43 pounds in 2 years. Her clothes hung off her body like sheets on a skeleton. Her face was hollow, her eyes sunken. Her hands trembled constantly from malnutrition. But her children were alive. Skinny, yes. Struggling, absolutely. But alive. That was enough. That's what she told herself every single night when exhaustion pulled her under, and every single morning when cold yanked her back to consciousness. Keep them alive. Keep them together. Keep fighting and hope for a better tomorrow. The story of how Jasmine ended up here wasn't unique. It was painfully, tragically common. A story told in variations across every city in America. She was a single mother. She'd come out of an abusive relationship. The economy had fallen apart. Same chapters, different names. She'd grown up in a small town outside of Savannah, raised by her mother and grandmother. Her father had never been in the picture, just a name on a birth certificate and a child support check that never came. But her mother, God rest her soul, had been everything. Linda Brooks had worked 2 jobs her entire adult life. During the day, she cleaned houses for wealthy families in the nice part of town. At night, she stocked shelves at the local grocery store. She came home exhausted, fell asleep in her work clothes, woke up before dawn, and did it all over again. But she'd loved Jasmine fiercely. Linda taught her values that money couldn't buy. If you got food to give and to help, why not? Her mother used to say. Ain't nothing wrong with lending a hand to somebody who needs it. Jasmine's grandmother had reinforced the same lesson. Share what you have. Help when you can. Kindness costs nothing but means everything. Those lessons had been drilled into Jasmine since childhood. They'd shaped who she was, how she saw the world, and how she lived through it. Even now, even here, even with nothing. Her mother had died in Northside Hospital from ALS. A brutal disease that slowly paralyzed her body while leaving her mind perfectly intact, forcing her to watch her own deterioration with complete awareness. Jasmine had been there at the end, holding her mother's hand, whispering promises she didn't know if she could keep. I'll be okay, Mama. I'll take care of myself. I'll make you proud. She'd failed on all 3 counts. 6 months after her mother's funeral, Jasmine had met Marcus's father. Tall, charming, attentive in all the ways that make a grieving woman feel alive again. He'd promised her the world, stability, and a beautiful family. What he'd delivered instead was terror. The first time he hit her, she was 4 months pregnant with Marcus. A slap across the face because dinner wasn't ready when he got home. He'd apologized immediately, tears streaming down his face, swearing it would never happen again. It happened again 2 weeks later. And again. And again. And again. After Marcus was born, the violence escalated. What started as slaps became punches. Punches became worse. His family knew. They saw the bruises, heard her crying, witnessed his rage. And they defended him. You must have provoked him, his mother said once, examining the black-eyed Jasmine tried to hide with makeup. Men don't just hit women for no reason. What did you do? What did she do? She existed. She asked for help with the baby. She questioned why he spent their grocery money on things they didn't need. She defended herself when he came at her drunk and angry. Apparently, all of those things were provocations worthy of violence. My mama didn't birth no punching bag, Jasmine would say later, her voice steady despite tears. I'm not nothing to hit on. She'd left him 8 months ago, packed what little she could carry, grabbed her 3 children, and walked out the door while he was passed out on the couch. She'd gone to a women's shelter first, but they were full. Then another, also full. Then another. Atlanta had resources for homeless families, but those resources were stretched impossibly thin. There were waiting lists for waiting lists, applications that required addresses she didn't have, documentation she'd lost when she fled, systems designed to help that somehow kept finding reasons not to. Trying to get into the shelters and everything, she would explain later. It's harder than what people really think it is. So she'd ended up on the streets with a fading cardboard, visible and invisible at the same time. The worst part wasn't the cold or the hunger or the exhaustion, though all of those were unbearable. The worst part was watching her children experience life without basic needs and being powerless to help it. Aiden had stopped asking when they'd have a home again. He'd stopped talking about school, about friends, about the normal childhood activities he'd been ripped away from. He'd become quiet, watchful, protective of his younger siblings in ways no 6-year-old should have to be. Mia would drink little or no water at night because there was no bathroom nearby, and she was too scared to wake Jasmine up to walk her to the public restroom 3 blocks away in the dark. And Marcus, sweet baby Marcus, who should have been learning to walk and talk and explore the world with fearless toddler confidence, was instead learning that the world was cold and unstable. Jasmine had one other daughter, 13-year-old Bella, her firstborn, her heart. But Bella was with her father on the west side of Atlanta, living the comfortable life that Jasmine couldn't provide. The separation wasn't what Jasmine ever wanted. Jasmine saw her maybe once a month, supervised visits filled with questions she couldn't answer. "When are you coming to get me, Mama? When can we all be together again?" "Soon, baby. Soon." Lies told out of love. Promises made from desperation. Her biggest dream, the one she held on to when everything else felt hopeless, was simple. Just work and keep us all together. Get my daughter back so we can all be up under one roof. She didn't want luxury. She didn't want wealth. She didn't want anything beyond basic human dignity. A job. Any job. "A job is a job to me," she would say. "I don't care. As long as it's accumulating money and I can work. A home. Nothing fancy. Just 4 walls, a roof, heat, running water. The bare minimum requirements for human life. Her children together. All 4 of them under one roof, safe, warm, and well-fed. That was the entire scope of her ambition. The complete list of her desires. And somehow, even that felt impossibly out of reach. But Jasmine had one thing that homelessness hadn't stolen. One thing that abuse hadn't broken. One thing that 2 years of suffering hadn't destroyed. Faith. Even with everything against her, she believed in God. She prayed every single night, sometimes out loud with her children gathered close, sometimes silently while tears ran down her face in the dark. "Father God, protect us. Cover us with your blood. Keep your angels around us. Protect us from harm. Keep us covered and watch over us in Jesus' name." She didn't understand why God had allowed this to happen to them. She didn't understand why her prayers for help seemed to go unanswered day after day, week after week, month after month. But she kept praying anyway, because what else could she do? At 5:15 that evening, as the temperature dropped and the wind picked up and Jasmine pulled her children closer, trying to share body heat that none of them really had, a man approached their little cardboard island. He looked homeless. Old-looking jeans, faded jacket, and a hungry face. He moved as if he didn't want anyone to notice him. Jasmine had seen hundreds of homeless people in her 2 years on the street. She recognized her own kind immediately. "Excuse me, ma'am," the man said, his voice gentle. "I just wanted to ask. I'm homeless too. I just want to know if you need anything." Jasmine looked up at him, caught off guard. In her experience, homeless people rarely helped each other. Everyone was too busy trying to survive their own nightmare. But here was this stranger, clearly struggling himself, asking if she needed help. "It doesn't matter," Jasmine said quietly, careful not to wake Marcus. "Anything helps. Whatever you can get, it all helps." The man nodded slowly, looking at her face, her children, the cardboard sign. "You guys want anything to eat or anything?" Jasmine felt Aiden move beside her. She knew he was hungry. She knew Mia was hungry. She knew she was hungry. But asking felt like begging, and she'd held onto her dignity this long. "Yes," she finally said, because her children's need mattered more than her pride. "Whatever you can get. A burger, fries, whatever. It helps." The stranger smiled slightly. "I got like $10. I'll see if I can get you something. These your kids?" "Yes," Jasmine said, her arms instinctively holding them tighter. "Where do you guys sleep at night?" Jasmine gestured to the cardboard beneath them. "Here. Sometimes I can get money for a hotel room if I get enough during the day." "How much is a hotel room?" $75. "How much do you have right now?" Jasmine pulled the crumpled bills from her pocket. $5 and some change. the sum total of her worth in the world's eyes. $5. The man's face softened. You're short. Yeah, Jasmine said. Will you be here like in 30 minutes? He asked. Yes. I'm not going nowhere. The stranger nodded. Okay, I'll be back. God bless you. God bless you too, Jasmine said. Listen, just get what you can get. She watched him walk away, disappearing into the Atlanta evening crowd, and wondered if he'd actually come back. People promised things all the time and never followed through. She'd learned not to hope too hard. But 37 minutes later, he returned. He was carrying 2 bags from a fast food restaurant, steam rising from the top, the smell of hot food making Jasmine's stomach turn painfully. Aiden sat up straighter. Mia's eyes went wide. Even Marcus stirred in Jasmine's arms, sensing something different. I got you some food, the man said, handing her the bags. Jasmine took them with shaking hands, unable to believe this kindness from a stranger who had so little himself. She opened the first bag. Burgers, fries, chicken nuggets, more food than they'd seen in days. Then the man did something that would change everything. He sat down on the cold concrete beside their cardboard, making himself equal to them rather than standing above them in charity. You want to share? He asked. Jasmine looked at him, confused. The food? Yeah, you can share the food so you can eat too. The offer was there, hanging silently, daring for her to take or reject it. This man, this stranger who claimed to be homeless himself, who said he only had $10, had just spent his last money buying food for her family. And now he was asking if she would share it back with him. They're hungry, aren't they? The man asked, gesturing to her children. Yeah. When's the last time they ate? Earlier today. The man nodded slowly, then looked at Aiden and Mia. Are you guys hungry? Yeah. They both whispered. I got you. He helped Jasmine distribute the food, made sure each child had a burger, fries, something to drink. Then he did something that made Jasmine's throat tight. He prayed. God is great. Thank you for food. Thank you for abundant food. Amen. Amen, Jasmine echoed, tears pricking her eyes. They ate together. A homeless man and a homeless mother with 3 hungry children, sitting on cardboard outside a closed store, sharing a meal like they were family seated around a proper table. You believe in God too, the man said. It wasn't a question. Yes, Jasmine said firmly. What's your biggest prayer right now? She paused, the sound of her own breathing loud in her ears. Get out of this situation. How long have you been in this situation? 2 years. She watched his face register shock. 2 years. 730 days. 17,520 hours. An eternity measured in cold nights and hungry mornings. 2 years, he repeated quietly. Have you tried to get into the shelters and everything? It's harder than what people really think it is, Jasmine said, the exhaustion of those 2 years heavy in her voice. The man was quiet for a moment, then asked gently, Where's the dad? Jasmine's hands fidgeted in her lap. Doing what he wants to do and don't want to help. She paused, then added the other wound that never healed. My mom, she's gone. She passed away. I'm sorry, the man said, genuine compassion in his voice. They sat in silence for some time, the only sounds from the traffic on the street and Aiden's happy munching on French fries. If you got back on your feet, the stranger asked, what's your dream for your kids? Jasmine didn't even have to think. Just work and keep us all together. You know, I have a 13-year-old daughter. She's on the west side with her dad. I just want to get her back so we can all be up under one roof. She cleared her throat and kept talking. I don't party. I don't drink. I don't go to clubs, bars, none of that. It's like being with my kids more than anything. You know, they need me. What got you out here? The man asked. This was the question Jasmine couldn't avoid. After I had him, she said, gesturing to Marcus sleeping peacefully with a full belly for the first time in days. He thought I was a punching bag. She looked the stranger directly in the eyes and kept talking, even as it hurt to get the words out. My mama didn't birth no punching bag. I'm not nothing to hit on. His family would make it seem like what he was doing was right. When I tried to defend myself, I was wrong. So I left because I got tired of it. You don't want to help. You don't want to do nothing. You want to sit around thinking what I got to give you. I'm not about to take away from my kids to give you anything. I can't do that. So whatever I got to do to make sure that they okay, I'll do it. The man listened without interrupting, without judgment, without the suspicious questions people usually asked when they heard stories like hers. He just listened like her pain mattered. I wish I could help you, he said softly. God bless you, Jasmine replied, meaning it with her whole heart. This stranger had already helped more than he knew. He'd fed her children. He'd treated them like human beings. He'd listened to her story without making her feel ashamed. The man reached into his pocket and pulled out a small amount of cash. He handed it to Jasmine. I hope that helps out a little bit. Jasmine took it with trembling hands, tears already forming. She didn't count it immediately, just held it like the lifeline it was. Then she looked at this man who'd given from his own poverty to help her, and something inside her broke wide open. 2 years of holding it together, 2 years of being strong for her babies, 2 years of swallowing pain and fear and exhaustion came flooding out all at once. Nobody understands how tired I am, she sobbed, the words torn from somewhere deep and desperate. I'm so tired of this. I get so overwhelmed every day. It's every day. She was crying openly now, unable to stop. 2 years of tears that she'd held back because mothers don't get to fall apart. Mothers have to keep going. Mothers have to stay strong. But she was so tired of being strong. I'm so tired, she repeated, her voice breaking into pieces. They shouldn't have had to suffer going through this. It's not right. It's not right. Aiden and Mia watched their mother let her emotions out. They'd seen her struggle, seen her fight, seen her push through impossible circumstances. But they'd rarely seen her break. The stranger's eyes were wet too. God bless you. I'm sorry. Can I give you a hug? Jasmine asked through tears, needing human contact, needing to be held, needing to feel less alone for just one moment. Yes, the man said. They embraced there on the cold Atlanta sidewalk. 2 people the world had written off as worthless, finding humanity in each other's arms. I love you, the stranger said. Love you too, Jasmine whispered. Thank you. After a few moments, the man gently pulled back. You said a hotel is $75 for the night, right? Yes, Jasmine said, wiping her eyes. The man reached into his jacket and pulled out a significantly larger amount of cash. Jasmine's breath caught. He counted it carefully, then placed it in her hands. $1,000 in bills that felt heavier than diamond. Jasmine stared at the money like it might disappear if she blinked. Her hands shook so violently she almost dropped it. That should get you a hotel for the week, the man said gently, and help you get back on your feet. Jasmine couldn't speak. She couldn't process what was happening. $1,000. More money than she'd seen in 2 years. Enough for a week of safety, of heat, of walls around her babies. Can you stand up, please? The man asked. I want to give you a hug. Jasmine managed to stand, and they embraced again, this time with her children wrapping their small arms around both of them. Can I give you my phone number too? The man asked when they pulled apart. Is that okay? In case I can find you a job too. Please, Jasmine said immediately, desperately. I want to work. What would you like to do as a job? Anything. It doesn't matter. As long as it's accumulating money and I can work. A job is a job to me. I don't care. The man smiled and handed her his phone. Put your number in here. Jasmine's hands shook so badly she could barely type. But she managed. I hope we get you back on your feet, the man said. Are you okay for tonight now? Yes, Jasmine said, holding on to the money like it might evaporate. Yes. Okay. God bless you. God bless you, Jasmine echoed. They said their goodbyes, Aiden and Mia calling out thank you, Marcus waving his tiny hand. Jasmine watched the stranger walk away into the Atlanta night, and she sank back down onto the cardboard with her children. Then she counted the money. Twice. 3 times. 4 times. $1,000. she could get a hotel room, not just for tonight but for a week. 7 nights of safety. 7 mornings of waking up warm. 7 days of her children sleeping in real beds instead of on frozen ground. Jasmine pulled her babies close and she prayed, her voice shaking with gratitude and disbelief. Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you for sending that man. Thank you for seeing us. Thank you for not forgetting us. But Jasmine had no idea that the miracle had only just begun. What she didn't know was that the homeless man who'd just given her $1,000 wasn't homeless at all. His name was Weston Parker, and he was one of the most influential social media creators in the country, with a combined following of over 12 million people across multiple platforms. Weston had built his entire brand on one simple concept: radical generosity. He would approach people in desperate situations, often disguising himself as someone struggling, and then reveal himself to help in ways that changed lives completely. He'd paid off medical debt, bought cars for struggling families, funded education for kids who couldn't afford it, covered rent for elderly people facing eviction. His videos reached hundreds of millions of views because people were hungry for proof that goodness still existed in the world. But Jasmine's story hit him differently. Weston had approached hundreds of homeless people over the years. He'd heard countless stories of struggle, seen every kind of desperation poverty creates. But Jasmine's willingness to share her food, to offer what little she had to a stranger she thought was just as desperate, had broken something open inside him. You can share the food so you can eat too. Those words, spoken without hesitation despite her own starvation, despite her children's hunger, despite having absolutely nothing to spare, had revealed something Weston searched for constantly. Pure goodness. Kindness that existed without calculation. Generosity that flowed from an empty cup. That night, alone in his hotel room, Weston couldn't sleep. He kept seeing Jasmine's face, hearing her voice as she talked about being tired, watching her break down under the exhaustion of 2 years' worth of suffering. He kept thinking about Aiden and Mia's innocent eyes, baby Marcus shivering in clothes that weren't warm enough. $1,000 would help for a week, maybe 2. But what happened after that? What happened when the money ran out and Jasmine was back on the street with her children, starting over from the same impossible place? Weston had given cash before, lots of it. He'd helped hundreds of people. But there was something about Jasmine that made him want to do more. So Weston made a decision. He was going to tell Jasmine's story to the world. And he was going to ask the world to help. The next morning, Weston sat down in front of his camera. No elaborate setup, no dramatic music, no editing tricks. Just him, in a simple room, talking directly to the 12 million people who followed him. Last night, he began, I met a woman named Jasmine. She's 31 years old. She has 3 children. And she's been homeless for 2 years. He told her story exactly as she told it to him. The abuse, the loss of her mother, the failed attempts to get into shelters, the 2 years on the street watching her babies suffer. Then he told them about the test. I approached her pretending to be homeless myself, Weston said, his voice thick with emotion. I asked if she needed anything. She asked for food for her kids. So I bought food with my last $10. And when I came back, I asked her if she'd share it with me. He paused, letting the weight of that moment settle. This woman, who had 3 hungry children, who had only $5 to her name, who needed $75 for 1 night in a hotel room, didn't hesitate. She immediately said yes. She offered to share her children's food with a stranger she thought had nothing. Weston's eyes were now filled with tears. That's who Jasmine is. Someone who gives even when she has nothing. Someone who helps even when she's the one who needs help. He looked directly into the camera. I gave her $1,000 last night for a hotel and food. But that's not enough. That's a temporary fix to a permanent problem. So here's what I'm asking. He pulled up a crowdfunding link, displaying it clearly on screen. I've set up a fund for Jasmine and her children. Every single dollar donated will go directly to her. 100%. No fees, no cuts, nothing hidden. It'll go toward stable housing, toward getting her into job training, toward reuniting her with her oldest daughter, toward giving these children a real chance at life. He paused, trying to push the emotions out of his voice. I'm asking you to help me help her. $5, $10, whatever you can give. Let's show Jasmine that the world hasn't forgotten her. That kindness still exists. That her faith wasn't misplaced. He posted the video at 9:23 a.m. Eastern Time. Within 10 minutes, the crowdfund had raised $2,000. Within an hour, $20,000. Within 3 hours, $100,000. The donations poured in from every corner of the world. $5 from a college student. $50 from a grandmother. $500 from someone who'd been homeless themselves and remembered what it felt like. $1,000 from a single mother who saw herself in Jasmine's story. The comments section exploded with people sharing their own stories, their own struggles, their own experiences with homelessness and poverty and abuse. I was Jasmine 5 years ago. Someone helped me and changed my life. I'm paying it forward. My mother escaped abuse with nothing. I know what these children are going through. Here's what I can give. This is what humanity should look like. Thank you for showing us. By the end of the first day, the crowdfund had raised $273,000. By the end of the second day, $412,000. By the end of the third day, the number crossed $500,000. $500,000 donated by strangers around the world who'd heard Jasmine's story and refused to look away. Weston watched the numbers climb with tears streaming down his face. He'd run crowdfunds before, successful ones, but nothing like this. Nothing that moved people so deeply, so quickly, so completely. Jasmine's willingness to share her bread had broken open something in the collective human heart. Her kindness from an empty pocket had revealed a truth people desperately needed to believe. That goodness still mattered. That generosity still existed. That one person could make a difference. Now it was time to tell Jasmine. 3 days after their first meeting, Weston called the phone number Jasmine had given him. She answered on the second ring, her voice cautious. Hello, Jasmine, this is Weston. The man you met 3 nights ago. Oh my God, Jasmine breathed. Thank you. Thank you so much. That money, it gave us 3 nights in a real hotel. My babies have been sleeping in real beds. We've been eating real food. I can't thank you enough. I'm glad, Weston said, smiling. Are you free this afternoon? I'd like to meet with you. I have some things to talk about. Jasmine hesitated. Is something wrong? Do you need the money back? Because I've been really careful with it, I promise. I kept every receipt. No, Weston said quickly. Nothing wrong. Just the opposite. Trust me on this. Okay? Can you meet me at the park near the hotel? Around 2 o'clock. Yes, Jasmine said. I'll be there. At exactly 2 p.m., Jasmine arrived at the park, her 3 children clean and fed and looking healthier than they had in months. She spotted Weston immediately, sitting on a bench, and walked over nervously. Hi, she said softly. Hi, Weston replied, standing to hug her. How are you? Better, Jasmine admitted. So much better. Those 3 nights in the hotel felt like heaven. But it's running out. The money's almost gone and I know we'll be back on the street soon. But at least we got this little break. That's more than we had before. Weston smiled. Sit down, Jasmine. We need to talk. Jasmine sat, Aiden and Mia flanking her, Marcus in her lap. Okay. Do you remember when I asked for your phone number? When I said I might be able to help you find a job? Yes, Jasmine said hopefully. Well, I have some options for you. He pulled out a folder and handed it to her. I reached out to 10 different companies in Atlanta, explained your situation, asked if they had any full-time positions available. Jasmine opened the folder with shaking hands. Inside were 10 job offers. Real offers with salaries and benefits and start dates. Office work, retail, healthcare support, customer service. A variety of positions matched to skills she'd mentioned in their conversation. These are all real, she whispered. All real, all full-time, all with benefits. You pick whichever one feels right to you. Jasmine's hands trembled as she flipped through the pages, tears sliding down her cheeks. I don't understand. How did you do this? I made some calls, Weston said simply. But we're not done. Look at the next page. Jasmine turned the page and found information for free childcare programs. 3 different facilities, all within 15 minutes of each job location. All willing to take all 3 of her children at no cost. Free daycare? She gasped. Free daycare, Weston confirmed. So you can work and provide for them without worrying about who's watching them. Jasmine was openly sobbing now, unable to process what was happening. This was too much, too good, too impossible. There's more, Weston said gently. But before I show you, I need you to do something for me. Jasmine wiped her eyes. Anything, whatever you need. I need you to trust me, completely. Can you do that? Yes, Jasmine said without hesitation. Weston reached into his bag and pulled out 3 blindfolds. I'm going to need you and the kids to put these on. Jasmine blinked. Blindfolds? I have a surprise. A really big surprise. But I need you to trust me and not ask questions yet. Can you do that? She took a quick glance at her children, then at Weston, and finally down at the job offers, weighing everything at once. This man had already done more for her than anyone in 2 years. If he wanted her to wear a blindfold, she'd wear a blindfold. Okay, she said. We trust you. Weston helped her put the blindfolds on all 3 children first, then on Jasmine. Then he carefully guided them to a van he had waiting nearby, helping them inside, making sure they were comfortable and safe. Where are we going? Aiden asked, his voice uncertain but excited. It's a surprise, buddy, Weston said. But it's a good one, I promise. The drive took about 23 minutes. Jasmine couldn't see anything, but she could feel the van turning, stopping at lights, the rhythm of the road beneath them. Her heart beat faster with anticipation and nervousness and hope she was afraid to name. Finally, the van stopped. Weston helped them out carefully, his hands steady and reassuring. We're about to take the blindfolds off, he said. But first, I need to explain something. Okay, Jasmine said, her voice small. 3 days ago, after I met you, I told your story to my followers on social media. I told them about your struggle, your faith, your kindness. I told them how you offered to share your food even though you were hungry. I told them everything. Jasmine's felt her heart beating faster than usual. You told people about me? Yes, and I set up a crowdfund. I asked people to donate whatever they could to help you get back on your feet. Oh my God, Jasmine whispered. People responded, Jasmine. People from all over the world. They heard your story and they wanted to help. They donated. A lot. How much? Jasmine asked, her voice barely audible. $500,000. The words didn't make sense. Jasmine heard them, but her brain couldn't process them. $500,000. That wasn't real. That couldn't be real. What? She let it out on a shaky breath. $500,000, Weston repeated. From people who were moved by your story, by your kindness, by your faith. They wanted to help. Jasmine's legs went weak. Weston caught her, helping her to stand well. It's okay. I've got you. That's not possible, Jasmine said. That can't be real. It's real, Weston said gently. And we're going to use a lot of it to make sure you never have to sleep on the street again. Are you ready to see how? Jasmine nodded, unable to speak. Okay, on the count of 3, I'm going to have you guys take your blindfolds off. 1, 2, 3. Jasmine pulled the blindfold from her eyes and blinked against the afternoon sunlight. For a moment, she couldn't understand what she was seeing. They were standing in front of a house. Not a mansion, but a real, solid, beautiful house with a front porch and a small yard and windows that reflected the sky. Weston held up a set of keys. This is yours, Jasmine. Jasmine stared at the keys like they were written in a foreign language. Mine. Yours. We bought it. Paid in full. No mortgage. No rent. No landlord. It's completely and entirely yours. You own it. No, Jasmine said, shaking her head. No, that's not possible. You're lying. I'm not lying, Weston said, pushing the keys into her palm. This is your home. 3 bedrooms. 1 for you, 1 for the girls, 1 for Aiden when you get your oldest daughter back. Full kitchen. 2 bathrooms. Backyard. Heat that works. Water that runs. A door that locks from the inside. Jasmine looked at the house. Her brain couldn't make the connection. Couldn't accept what was happening. "Can I go see it?" she whispered. "It's yours," Weston said. "You can do whatever you want." Jasmine walked toward the house like someone in a dream. Each step felt unreal, impossible, like she might wake up any second back on the cardboard outside the convenience store. But she didn't wake up. She reached the front door, slid the key into the lock with trembling hands, turned it, heard the click, pushed the door open. The inside was clean and bright, sunlight streaming through large windows, empty of furniture, but full of potential, full of possibility, full of everything she'd dreamed about for 2 years. "This is mine," she asked again, her voice breaking. "This is yours," Weston confirmed, standing in the doorway with her children. Jasmine walked through each room, touching the walls like they might not be real. The kitchen with actual counters and a real stove. The bathrooms with working toilets and showers. The bedrooms where her babies could sleep safely. She stood in what would be her bedroom, looking out the window at the small backyard, and she completely fell apart. 2 years of pain came pouring out in sobs that shook her entire body. 2 years of fear, of exhaustion, of watching her children suffer, of feeling forgotten by the world, of praying to a God who seemed silent. All of it came out at once. Weston gave her space, keeping the children in the living room, letting Jasmine have this moment of private devastation and overwhelming relief. When she finally came back to the living room, her eyes were swollen but clear, clearer than they'd been in 2 years. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "You don't have to say anything," Weston replied. "But we're not done yet. There's more," Jasmine asked, unable to imagine what else could possibly remain. Weston smiled. "There's a lot more. First, you have $500,000 in donations, right? The house took about $175,000. That leaves $325,000. Jasmine couldn't even comprehend numbers that large. "Here's what we're going to do," Weston continued. "I have a financial advisor who's going to help you set everything up properly. We're going to put $150,000 into a trust fund for your children's education. College, trade school, whatever they need when they're older. That money is protected. No one can touch it except them when the time comes." Jasmine's hand flew to her mouth. "We're going to put another $75,000 into a high-yield savings account for emergencies. Medical bills, car repairs, whatever unexpected expenses come up. That's your safety net." Tears streamed down Jasmine's face. "The remaining $100,000 is going to be split. $50,000 for furniture, household items, getting this place set up as a real home. The other $50,000 is yours to manage as you see fit. For food, utilities, transportation, whatever you and your kids need." "This isn't real," Jasmine kept repeating. "This can't be real." "It's real," Weston said. "And there's one more thing." He pulled out another set of keys. These were car keys. Jasmine stared at them. "No." "Yes," Weston said, smiling. "Come outside." Jasmine followed him out to the driveway, where a reliable Toyota RAV4 sat waiting. Not brand new, not flashy, but safe and dependable and perfect for a family of 4. "So you can take your kids to school," Weston said. "For you to get to work early and easily, and you never have to wait for buses in the cold again." Jasmine walked to the car, placed her hand on the hood, and broke down again. Her children gathered around her. Aiden hugging her waist, Mia holding her hand, Marcus reaching up from the ground saying, "Mama, Mama, this is too much," Jasmine sobbed. "This is too much." "It's what you deserve," Weston said firmly. "It's what your children deserve." They stood there for a long time, Jasmine crying, her children holding her, the reality of what was happening slowly sinking in. Finally, Jasmine looked at Weston through tear-blurred eyes. "Why did you do this? Why me?" Weston smiled. "Because you shared your bread. Because when I asked if you'd share your food with a stranger, you didn't hesitate. You had $5, 3 hungry children, and absolutely nothing to spare. But you shared anyway. He paused, emotions clear in his voice. That told me everything I needed to know about who you are. You're good, Jasmine. Even when the world was cruel to you, you stayed good. Even when you had nothing, you gave. That kind of kindness deserves to be rewarded. Jasmine shook her head. I just did what my mama taught me. If you got food to give and to help, why not? Ain't nothing wrong with lending a hand. Exactly, Weston said. Your mama raised you right. And now you're raising your children right. Teaching them the same values even while living on the street. That's extraordinary. Later that evening, after Weston had helped Jasmine check into a hotel for one more night while the utilities in the house were turned on, after the children had been fed and bathed and put to bed, Jasmine sat with Weston in the hotel lobby. Tell me about your mother, he said gently. Jasmine smiled through tears. She was everything. She worked 2 jobs her whole life just to take care of me. Never complained. Never stopped loving me. She died in 2019 from ALS. Were you close? We were really close. My dad was never in the picture. So all I had was my mom and my grandma. They raised me to be kind, to help people, to share what I had even when I didn't have much. They'd be proud of you, Weston said. You've been through hell and you kept those values. That's not easy. Jasmine nodded. Some days I wondered if it was worth it, if being kind mattered when the world was so cruel. But I kept hearing my mama's voice. Don't never give up, Jasmine. Don't never give up. You didn't, Weston said. You survived 2 years on the street with 3 children. You protected them. You kept them together. You never gave up on them. They're all that matters, Jasmine said fiercely. People say, you deserve this, you deserve that. But no, my kids deserve it. They didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask for any of this. They deserve better. What's your dream for them now? Weston asked. Jasmine thought for a moment. To make it better for them. To do better for them. To give them a childhood that isn't about survival. To let them be kids. She paused, wiping her eyes. And to get my daughter back. To have all 4 of my babies under one roof. Together. Safe. That's all I want. You're going to get that, Weston said. You have a home now. You have stability. You have resources. You can get your daughter back. Jasmine nodded, fresh tears falling. Thank you. Thank you for seeing us. For not walking past like everyone else. Thank you for reminding me why I do this work, Weston replied. You restored my faith in humanity. The next day, Weston brought his camera crew to document the moment Jasmine moved into her house. She'd asked if that was okay, if she could share her story, and Jasmine had agreed. If my story can help someone else, she said. If it can give someone else hope, then yes, share it. The video of Jasmine seeing her house for the first time, of her breaking down in tears, of her children running through the rooms claiming their spaces, went viral within hours. 5 million views in the first day. 27 million by the end of the week. Comments flooded in from people around the world. This is why I still have faith in humanity. I've been Jasmine. I know that feeling. I'm so happy for her. That moment when she saw the house. I'm crying at work right now. This is what the internet should be used for. Helping people. Changing lives. But the most important comment came from Jasmine herself, recorded on camera 3 days after moving in. Weston had asked her one final question. What's your message to the world? Jasmine looked directly into the camera, her eyes clear and certain. God bless you. And don't never give up. Don't never give up. No matter what you go through, you always going to have your stepping stones, your ups and downs. But don't never give up. Especially on your kids. Because they are the main people that believe in you. She paused, trying to push the emotion out of her throat. I spent 2 years on the street praying to God to see us, to remember us, to send help. And he did. He sent Weston. He sent all those people who donated. He showed me that even when you can't see the miracle coming, it's on its way. Aiden, sitting beside his mother, added his own wisdom. Mama never gave up on us, even when it was really hard. And little Marcus, not quite understanding everything but feeling the emotion in the room, said the words that made everyone cry. "I love Jesus so much. Jesus is also like a mama to me." Jasmine laughed through tears, pulling him close. "Baby, I'm your mama. Jesus is Jesus." But Marcus shook his head stubbornly. "Jesus is my mama because you're like Jesus. You help people." The simple theology of a toddler, seeing his mother's kindness and equating it with divinity. 6 months later, Jasmine had her full-time job in healthcare administration. She'd completed training, passed her certifications, and settled into work that gave her purpose beyond survival. Her children were thriving. Aiden was back in school, making friends, playing on a soccer team. Mia was in preschool, her personality blooming now that she wasn't afraid all the time. Marcus was in daycare, learning colors and shapes and how to play with other children. And Bella, her 13-year-old daughter, was back home. The stable housing and steady employment had been enough to satisfy the courts. Her family was together. All 4 children under one roof, just like Jasmine had dreamed. Weston visited sometimes, checking in, watching Jasmine build the life she'd been denied for so long. They'd become friends, real friends, the kind forged in shared humanity rather than transaction. "You know what I think about sometimes?" Jasmine said to him during one visit, sitting on her front porch while her children played in the backyard. "What's that?" Weston asked. "That day you asked me to share my bread. If I'd said no, if I'd been too hungry, too desperate, too focused on my own survival, none of this happens." "Maybe," Weston said, "or maybe the universe was testing you, seeing if suffering had made you bitter or if you'd stayed good despite everything." "You really believe that?" Jasmine asked. "I do," Weston said. "I think goodness matters. I think kindness is never wasted. I think what you give comes back to you in ways you can't predict." Jasmine smiled. "My mama used to say that. What you give with love comes back tenfold." She was right. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Aiden push Mia on a swing set they'd installed in the backyard, watching Marcus dig in a sandbox with fierce toddler concentration, watching Bella read a book in the shade of the house Jasmine now owned. "I still can't believe this is my life," Jasmine said softly. "Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and have to walk through the house to make sure it's real, to make sure I'm not still on that cardboard outside the store." "It's real," Weston assured her. "This is your life now. You earned it." "No," Jasmine corrected gently. "God gave it. I just held on long enough to receive it." The story of Jasmine Brooks spread far beyond Weston's initial video. News outlets picked it up. She started volunteering at the homeless shelter she'd mentioned that first night, the one she'd wanted to donate to when she thought she had money to spare. She served food, organized donations, and most importantly, she listened. Because she knew what it felt like to be invisible, to be desperate, to wonder if God had forgotten your name. And when she met women in situations similar to where she'd been, she told them the same thing every time. "Don't never give up. Your miracle is coming. It might not look the way you expect. It might not come when you think it should. But it's coming. Just hold on." She became a living testament to the power of faith, the importance of kindness, and the reality that one moment of generosity can change absolutely everything. Because Jasmine Brooks had $5 and 3 children, she was asked to share her last slice of bread with a stranger. And she said yes without hesitation. That yes had unlocked $500,000 in donations from strangers around the world. That yes had given her a house, a car, a future. That yes had reunited her family and restored her hope. That yes had proven that kindness from an empty pocket carries more weight than gold. 2 years of suffering. 2 years of praying. 2 years of holding on when letting go would have been easier. And in a blink of an eye, everything changed. Not because Jasmine was special in the world's eyes. Not because she was educated or connected or privileged. But because she was good. Because even in her darkest hour, she chose kindness over survival. Generosity over self-preservation. Faith over despair. And the world, watching through a screen, decided that goodness like that deserved to be rewarded. Jasmine Brooks shared her bread. The world gave her a home. And somewhere, her mother and grandmother were smiling. knowing that the lessons they taught had carried their daughter through hell and brought her out the other side. Because kindness is never wasted. Even when you have nothing to give, especially when you have nothing to give, what you offer from an empty hand matter more than anything money can buy. That's the lesson Jasmine lived. That's the miracle she received. That's the truth we all need to remember. Thank you for watching. If the story touched your heart, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Share this with someone who needs to believe in miracles again. See you in the next one. God bless you.